Peace. Peace, love, and light to you. I am Damarie Almaat. This is EdenRose, and EdenRose is a way of life. So I came on live today because, quite frankly, this is it. I have been putting off, maybe I need some more light in here. I've been putting off, we could just go with full light, that's fine. It's back here. I've been putting off making this channel an actual, thing for a very long time. And as of recent, as in literally moments ago, I was guided to step out of all of my fears and just do it. So, I don't know what the message is. To be honest, the title for this was just something that popped into my head seconds ago. So I don't really know where this is going. I don't really know what messages are meant to come through, or, where this is going to wind up. But I do know that I've been practicing the art of following source. And since this call is so loud, and quite frankly, I don't have the strength anymore to ignore it and not allow it. And so I find myself here doing this reading reluctantly so, but following my intuition anyway. Before I start, I'll just say that I was also guided to hold on a sec. I was also guided to share with you all my process for helping to decalcify and illuminate my third eye. And I do that on a daily basis. And what I do in order to do that is I practice using bindi. And I do a little internal prayer usually. And I don't really share with that process with anyone. At least I haven't ever before until now. My son is probably the only person who has ever witnessed me put bindi on. And apparently now just wants me to share that with whomever it is that, has this or watches this reading. So I'm going to share that with you. And it's something that's pretty darn intimate for me. Most times I end up in tears. So I'm going to do my best today not to do that. Hold on a second, I'm burning myself up. I'm going to do my best today not to wind up in tears. I will do an internal prayer. It's not going to be something that that is, going to be external, but you guys will be able to see me do my thing. So right here in this little dish, I have my kumkum, and what it is turmeric powder that I mix with a little bit of lemon juice, and I leave it out to sit, sometimes in the sun. And so I've done that. And what it does is it turns red, just like this. And the average, bindi that you see a Hindu woman wear. I mean, some people use this like bindi sticks, like there's like makeup that you can use, and it kind of makes for like a perfect, beautiful, perfect dot. And I really do it for aesthetics. So I don't really care what the dot looks like. But some people do that. I am not. I make my own kumkum, and I put it on myself. So what you do is I have a little bit of rose water mixed in with the powder inside of this little dish here. And that is how it becomes wet and moist. Wet and moist. That's how it becomes moist in order for me to actually put it on. So it's been a few minutes, so the consistency is a little bit different than usual, but I've been asked to make sure that you guys witness me bless myself. So that's what I'm going to do. So usually what I do is I use my index finger. Wow. Good morning. I use my ring finger on my right hand. And the reason why I use this finger is because this finger is connected energetically with the heart chakra. And so the process is to not only do I visualize my Kundalini energy and rising from my solar. Honestly, I'm so off today that I don't even know why this reading is coming through because I can't get the right words out. But I bring the energy up from my my root chakra up into my heart. I allow it to kind of sit there and fester. And then while I do my my bindi, I intentionally bring that energy up into my third eye. So that's kind of the process that happens. And I just ask for, you know, protection and guidance and for consistent communication with the creator as I continue to decalcify my pineal gland and as I work with the Kundalini energy. And yeah, that's about it. So I use my ring finger. Like I said, I'm going to use my phone as a mirror because I don't have it. It's not going to be a perfect bindi today. It's just going to be sort of a makeshift one because of the situation and the fact that I'm using my phone. Oh, come on. Yeah, so the consistency is a little bit off today, but that's okay. Perfect. Excuse me, I'm trying really hard not to cry. Oh boy. Okay, peace. So, that out of the way, I am here today to do a reading. And that reading is going to be specifically wrapped around and containing and perhaps about the divine energies. I am a divine feminine. Boom, said it. First time ever. I am a divine feminine. And if you don't know what that is, then you're probably in the wrong place. I'm just joking. If you don't know what that is, I am just a being who happens to be a living, breathing, conscious representative of the feminine aspect of creation. And what that means is that I've had a very interesting and unique experience, not only as a woman, but as a person on the planet this time, and it's a very spiritual one at that. I believe that I have met my twin flame in this lifetime. Actually, I thought I met my twin flame twice, two different people, believe it or not. The first one lasted for about 4 or 5 years. And it was actually a beautiful relationship that that we had, except there were just a lot of karmic ties that we had. At the time, I thought he was my twin. Now, in retrospect, I think that he represented aspects of my twin, more specifically the lower vibratory aspects of that energy. And so I can say yes, he was my twin, but also no, he wasn't my twin. Who knows? To be honest, who cares? Um, but yeah, that was that first experience. And then recently I've had another experience with a gentleman who I recognized fully as my twin, a more evolved version or aspect of him. My divine masculine, I will say. It's not, it's not actually a twin, but lingo aside, um, he represented for me the male aspect um, of I don't want to say myself because I have my own full whole self, but the essence that is me has a how do I explain this? It has a partner. It has um, a buddy, an ascension buddy, if you will. And I feel as though now I can comfortably say that I am most certainly sure that this person is my twin. Who knows? Maybe wrong. Don't know. To be honest, don't care anymore. I used to care. It's been a huge journey for me as far as coming out of that sort of obsessive energy where twin flames it can tend to exist. But now that I'm sort of directing my life and my space, my mind space in a direction that's more just focused entirely on aligning with source and aligning with, that God force, I call it Allah. Um, but yeah, it's for me, it's about aligning with that energy. And since I started to do that more consciously, and of course I've been doing that for years, but I've been doing it in a more deliberate way recently, and that has caused me to not really focus so much on my twin flame and more so to focus on myself. Um, and so I've been doing a lot of self work, which I'm sure many of us out there have been doing. And if you're watching this reading, I'm guessing that you're doing the same thing. I've been here for a while now. It's been 12 minutes. So if you're still here, there's a reason why, right? So I was going to start with my archetypes deck, but I'm being called to open up what I like to call the sick ass deck. The reason why I call it the sick ass deck is because it's sick ass. Like it's sick. It's so cool. I think it's so cool. Not sick like, but cool sick. And this deck I created with a friend or at a friend's place. I was hanging out with a friend a couple years ago, and her roommate had this, like, those old school tin, what do you call them? Lunch boxes. So he had this lunchbox full of stickers, just random stickers, big ones, small ones, yellow ones, green ones, all sorts of different things. Anyway, he had like hundreds of them, if not like 1,000. There were tons of stickers in this thing. So he offered us both an opportunity to take the stickers that we wanted. I took a few, and then he was like, bro, take more. Come on now. And so I took a few more, and I ended up with, I think there's 56, maybe 58. I don't know. Anyway, it's a stack of stickers. Here they are. They're not the same size. They're all different shapes. I'm not going to show you them because they're pretty awesome on the other side. But actually, maybe I will show you them. They're pretty darn cool. There's like a ton here. There's lots and lots and lots. So anyway, I use these stickers very, very rarely. And for some reason today, I was called to use those stickers. So that's what I'm going to use for right now, at least. I knew it. Everything is okay. Everything is a-okay. Everything is going to be copacetic. Everything that you thought that you needed protection from, everything that you think you're needing protection from, you have a team, an entire team of like ascended masters and ancestors who are guarding you, guarding your energy, guarding your light. And so the first message out right now is that you have nothing to worry about. Everything that is supposed to be set in stone has been, and it's now just a matter of waiting for creation to catch up on the physical realm. So what that means is just that, patience is needed. A lot of patience is needed. Powerful patience, right? The type of patience that not only supports yourself, but supports the people around you. So first message, everything's copacetic. Second message, sacred geometry. So this is speaking to creation, your own deliberate creation, your own. I'll show you. This is the first one that was at the top of the deck, but this is the one that came out. This is about your creation in physical reality and your ability to manifest not just your will, but the will of the creator, and stepping out of that sort of selfish, I don't want to say selfish, because there's nothing wrong with being selfish, really, if you're doing it right. How you want to selfish, right? But there's nothing wrong with being selfish, but this is like ego feeding, I'll say. Okay, instead of creating from the ego, this is about creating from the higher self perspective, from the inner self, higher self, whatever you want to call it. This is about creating from that perspective and leaving behind some of the old structures, physical structures, that by physical structures, I mean like things in life, like situations, scenarios, right? In the physical world. Leaving behind those structures, belief systems that are not in alignment with love. Okay, I didn't want to say this right away, but this is also a card of pregnancy. And by pregnancy, I could mean, physical pregnancy, but it's also representative of being pregnant with a new idea, being pregnant with a new energy, allowing something to grow and to, flourish and expand within you, an energy within you that's ready to grow and expand. So there are many of you in this reading, at least, who will watch this reading, who you are being impregnated by Source, by God, by Allah. You're being impregnated with a particular energy that will allow for you to start to manifest not just what you want, what your desires, but start to manifest like beyond that. Like this is boom. I don't know if this is backwards or not, but this is about manifesting something far beyond that kind of thing. Like you thought that it was going to be boombastic, boombastic, tell me fantastic. You thought it was going to be big and bad, but it's going to be a billion times better. So I think that's what we're going to go with today, that sort of energy. We'll see what else comes out, but this is, we're going to get a storyline. Should I go with tarot? Yeah. I should go with tarot. We need a storyline. So let's see why. Yeah, of course. Divine counterparts. Here we go. So I'll tell you, I have been reluctant to want to read at all. Anything having to do with the lovers, anything having to do with the twin flame energy. It has suffocated my space in my life for years. And so I have been doing my best to avoid those subjects, especially reading for people who are twin flames, or reading even other people's cards who I feel a very close connection with, because many times my energy infiltrates their readings, and then I get my own messages, and I find that kind of takes away from whatever the message they are. I also find that I've been attracting a lot of twin flames to read for, which was annoying me. I'll be frank, it was annoying me. But like I said earlier, I don't really seem to have a choice anymore. This is what Spirit wants me to do. This is what the Creator has been asking of me, even though I've been reluctant to do so. I purposely had to come on here and do it live because I was going to record this reading. And it's kind of like Spirit knew that if I recorded it, I probably wouldn't edit, or I would try to edit it, which means, change all the rawness, change things around, and likely not even post it. So you're welcome. Thank you, Spirit, and you're welcome, everybody else, because you may not be receiving this reading had it not been for Spirit's intense nudging. So, this is a message to the divine counterparts. I am going to just give in, even though I don't want to. I truly don't. I will release my own resistance, and I will give into this reading. I will allow for the energies and the messages that are meant to come through. I will be a cooperative component to whatever it is that Spirit is trying to accomplish through me and you. So, I accept. Page of Cups. Somebody is getting on top of their emotions. Okay, so this is what I'm being asked to do. Divine Masculine. No? Yes? No? Hold on a second. So recently I've discovered that I am entirely clairaudient. 100% clairaudient. Don't know how else to explain that. I'm clairaudient. And so if you catch me talking to myself, that's why. I'm not talking to myself, I'm actually talking to Spirit, and I am waiting to receive whatever the answer is to my questions. Forgive me if I look crazy and talk out loud to an invisible being. Interesting way of using my words there. All right. Really? Yes. Un momento. Por favor. So we're going to get into it. I've never done a reading like this. I always just go intuitively based on how the messages come. Usually I don't separate divine masculine and divine feminine energies. I just read the cards and I guess, and I just make up the story. Well, not make up the story, obviously, but receive the story as it goes. But right now, I'm being asked to divide both energies for the masculine and energies for the feminine. And then I'm going to also add I'm going to pull some cards for the energies combined. The yin yang, right? The negative and the positive polarities coming together as one. So the union, the energy of the union of self. Remember, this is about divine counterparts and separate people in the world, but this is also about the divine counterparts within yourself. In fact, it's only about the divine counterparts within yourself. And if you think, like I did for so long, that this was about a fairy tale love story, unfortunately, I love you very much, but you're sadly freaking mistaken. You are very mistaken. This is about the union between self and self. This is about the union between the lower self and the higher self. And recognizing that both have a job, both have a duty, both have an equally important and integral position and job to do when it comes to ascension. So If you came here for a love reading, it's not happening. Come on, what else do you have for the Divine Feminine? Is that it? Okay. For the Union now. I apologize for the bad quality of my video and perhaps even the sound. That's what I got. Gonna have to deal, of course. Yeah. Okie dokie. All right. All right. Where's my couch? Cat stack. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead with the Divine Masculine's energy first. Oh, and I do want to say, before I say anything else, big, gigantic shout out to, what's the name of the new channel now? Ascend. Oh, sugar snap. Ascend 1111 and Ascend 911. I will just say that the only reason why I am here doing this reading before you all today is because Mr. Lightwork of Ascend 1111, shout out, go check out his page. He did a reading a couple days ago. I believe it was on 1111. And I haven't been listening to a lot of readings, especially not ones having to do with twin flames. But for some reason, I always watch Fiery Grace and Mr. Lightwork. And so I was called to watch Fiery Grace's reading the other day. Shout out to you too, Grace. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you. I was called to listen to her reading, the 1111 reading. And during that reading, I found out that it was originally, that it was a sort of like a sequel. It ended up being a sequel to Mr. Lightwork's reading that had occurred, I don't know how long before. Anyway, I watched Fiery Grace's reading, and then I decided today, this was a couple days ago, today I decided to go and watch Mr. Lightwork's reading on his channel. And I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes of the reading because his words and the messages and spirit started to nudge hardcore and pull at my tiny little heartstrings. Actually, they're pretty big. My gigantic heartstrings. And pull me and push me to do this reading. So here I am. So I have Mr. Lightwork and Fiery Grace, the Gifted, to thank for that. I appreciate you both so much. Thank you for being on this journey with me and with all of us. Thank you for the energy that you give. Thank you for being such clear manifestations of yourselves and of the collective energies. I so true appreciate it. So I just want to say that before I get started. Thank you so much to the both of you. I guess I'm going to have to link their channel below. I don't really know how this YouTube stuff works exactly, but that makes sense, right? I'll link their channel because if you're looking for a reading on divine energy and you are in alignment with someone like me, then I would say that you are most certainly in alignment with the types of messages and energy that come through those two beings. So I'd say go check them out as well. All right, Divine Masculine, let's go. Monsieur, you, Mr. Divine Masculine, are moving out of a shady, 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 shady place where there was once hidden truth, where there was once covered eyes and sort of blinders put on. There is now beginning to be clarity, and this is a transition. This is a the word I'm looking for. Give it to me, Spirit. Give it to me. This is like and I just feel like a fast-moving train, but it's like slows down, that speeds up, and slows down, that speeds up. It's a consistent movement. It's a journey from this space of very immature, emotional understanding of the self into a space of a much more mature understanding of one's emotions. Now, what was being hidden from you, Divine Masculine, is that, I mean, you were kind of hiding it from yourself. You had this period of time where you kind of went into, you know, your own physical space, physical time of being sort of locked away, quarantined, if you will, for the right reasons. But you kind of quarantined yourself from, seems like from yourself. It was like you were trying not to hurt your own self with your shitty energy, which is interesting. But you've stepped out of this energy now, and you're no longer in this space where you are being held against your will, even though it's you. It's the lower self energies that are within you that have been holding you back. But you felt as though you were being held. You felt as though you were being kept from whatever progression that was meant for you. And so now you're in this space where you're beginning to feel more comfortable and confident about stepping out into a more emotionally charged type of way of being. Yeah. So this has been a really, really tough transition for you, and it's likely been very dark. However, I'm being reminded right now of the Merkaba energy. Your energy field has been cleansed. Your energy field has been risen. You've risen your vibration, and as a result of you rising your vibration, a lot of things from your past that weren't really going your way. I'm not going to get into detail because I truly don't like reading tarot, because it gives me, that's not true. I love reading tarot. I don't like the specificities of things that happen and things like that in my readings. I prefer to read energetically, so I don't want to get too detailed. However, I will say that the things in your space and in your life that were needing to fall off, that you were sort of in fear about allowing to let go, those things are either falling away, or you're pushing them away. You know, you're putting them away. You're disconnecting your connection to those things. You're disconnecting your energetic, I call them life strings. It's like an energy, a cord, if you will. You are cutting cords. Whether or not you're aware of it, you most certainly have been cutting cords. The Divine Masculine is in a space where his Merkaba, his energy field, is becoming purified. And it's beginning, it was stagnant, it wasn't moving, it was just like hovering. It was just kind of sitting there, and there wasn't any movement, there wasn't any current. And somehow, boom, Source must have given you some kind of lightning bolt, right? Some kind of energy, and that shit cooked you from the inside out, excuse my language, and now you are a cooked chicken. I'm joking. No, now you have been able to jumpstart your Merkaba, jumpstart your energy field, bring light. You're starting to bring light to the dark aspects of your energy field. If you can imagine a person's energy being like a Christmas tree, okay, like if you see a person and they're all, you see their aura, thank you, their aura around them. Imagine it's like a Christmas tree, and different parts of it is lit up, different colors, different energies, different frequencies, right? But there are also aspects of the Christmas tree that were very dark, and no light was actually being emanating, or no light was emanating from these areas, because they were, you know, I mean, that's just resistance. I'm trying to give a pretty picture to something that's not really that colorful, but if you can imagine, you had areas of your Christmas tree that weren't lit up. And somehow, over the last short little while, Source put you through the ringer. And So now, Divine Masculine, you are going through that process of lighting up those empty spaces, filling those voids with light and allowing it to shine. And that light is not being found or reached for from outside of you. That light is being shone from within. And I'm starting to feel a little bit like my throat doesn't want to, my throat chakra is kind of closing, which is telling me that you're not quite ready to communicate this. Some of you not quite ready to communicate this with yourself, like to admit it to yourself. And some of you not quite ready to admit it to your counterpart. Most of you not ready to admit it to your counterpart. In fact, probably all of y'all, with the exception of some of us who are moving in a more rapid fashion. But yeah, what once was dark and unilluminated has now become illuminated. And those spaces within you and within your mind and within your heart that even you thought were unreachable, unattainable, unfixable, no one would be able to get past this, or no one would be able to help you get past this. All of those spaces are being eliminated, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's so very beautiful. I'm going to pull. Honestly, everything in me says do not do a twin flame reading. Everything inside of me says don't do it. And Source is just, why is my face itchy? Sorry, guys. Source is just saying, continue, keep going. We've got this, blah, 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 trying to be my cheerleader. But I'll tell you, I honestly have no interest in doing this reading in this way. So I apologize for not being as enthusiastic as I normally am with this energy. But you gotta listen to Source, right? You have to listen. If it's time, it's time. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Yeah. That's funny. So Divine Masculine is coming into knowing about this partnership. Divine Masculine is coming into knowing what it is to be the other half of this divine partnership. And even some of them are even recognizing that they are Divine Masculine, quote unquote, just to put labels on things. I hate labels. I don't really like the whole term Divine Masculine or Divine Feminine. I've learned that those terms are limiting and full of resistance. And so I don't always like to use them, but it's kind of hard not to, especially when that's sort of the language that's used within this community. So that's what we'll go with. But anyhow, the Divine Masculine, you are stepping into a much clearer reflection of yourself. And because you are a divine counterpart, you can't help but also step into a clearer vision and knowing about this connection that you have with this other person. Because they are you. They are an equally yoked, an equally yoked version, the other side of the mirror. And so as you see yourself more clearly, you begin to see this person more clearly. And that is fantastic. That is beautiful. I mean, union or not, and by union I mean, the physical aspects of the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine coming together. Excuse my yawning, I yawn when I channel. Those two aspects coming together in the physical realm is what I refer to when I say union in the physical. But what we're really talking about here is, like I said before, the union with the self, being impregnated by the spirit, by the all, by the energy of one, so that you can start to recognize the one energy, the wholeness within yourself. And it just so happens that because you are a divine counterpart, as you recognize the wholeness that is you, you're also coming into a recognition of your counterpart. And thank goodness for that, because I know there are many divine feminines that have been out there waiting for weeks, months, and years for their divine counterpart to at least acknowledge what is occurring. So, well done, divine masculine. Well done. Now you just got to communicate that shit. When you're ready, of course, in your own time. But I'm still feeling that blockage in the throat chakra, which means you are truly not prepared yet to communicate how you are feeling, how you are seeing things, what you've learned, and what has come about as a result of this time that you've spent in your own space alone and reflecting. Not ready to communicate yet, but that's okay. It is coming. Divine Feminine. You, my darling. You, my darling. My darling, my darling. Divine Feminine has been keeping herself from the rewards that the universe has been trying to gift her. She has knowingly, in many cases, and don't get mad at the messenger, but she has knowingly stepped out of her divinity. And I can say I'm 100% guilty of this. 100% guilty. She has stepped out of her divinity and therefore cut herself off a little bit from manifesting. No, she has cut herself off from, oh wow. She's cut herself off from her own nationality. Those with ears to ears will hear, and those without will not. But this is not anything new. This is something very ancient and very old. Divine Feminine has cut herself off from her own nationality and is in the process of flipping that understanding, flipping that storyline from not knowing into knowing, from not being into being, from being a ward into being sovereign. She is in the midst of, she's already kind of done it, truly, really and truly. But the problem is being in the world is a little bit tricky when it comes to being of the world. Divine Feminine recognizes that she isn't of the world. She has to be in the world, but she isn't necessarily of this world, this modern world. And so she's made choices to kind of divvy her time and separate herself in ways that allow for her to exist in the world and also to exist in, her own internal understanding of self and understanding of the world. She's had to splice herself, kind of like what they call that, DID, dissociative disorder, whatever, personality disorder, whatever it is. She's kind of done that. She's cut herself into these pieces and said, okay, you can have that bit of me, you can have that bit of me, you can have that bit of me, you can have that bit of me. But in the meantime, she's been becoming and stepping, and that higher self aspect has been stepping more into each one of those individual pieces of herself that she chopped herself into. And what's happening right now is she is now inverting herself. She's stepping back into her sovereignty. She's stepping back into her power. And as she does that, so here's what we have here. Is it this side? Yeah. And as she does that and she flips her consciousness back upright, she will be faced with this. King of Wands. King of Rods. And this king is like, I'm feeling it as manifestation itself. I'm feeling this king as a representative of literal manifestation itself. It is the energy of creation, the energy of being you know, the Dandara of creation, being able to truly manifest. And I mean, this is the next card for her, the Magician. So being truly able to manifest and bring to life the energy that she has found within this new being that she's created herself to be, this new being that she's now stepping into these new spaces as. Okay, she's able to, once she reinverts herself fully, she is going to step into um, a balanced space where the masculine within her is awakened. The feminine now within her has already been awakened. And that is going to allow her to perform the most sacred alchemy anybody ever did heard of. Divine Feminine. Okay, I need to ask another question. Or pull another card. What's the advice? I mean, to be honest, it's almost like, because I wanted to pull another card, right? A fourth card, and it wouldn't give it to me, as in like, what is going on, or how do we fix it, or, you know, the extra, the added to the message. I like to pull, the energy right now is very much 1111, right? Gateways. So I've been pulling cards in a particular way in order to stay in alignment with that energy. But for some reason, the Divine Feminine's like, nope, I'm still on the threes. So she's very much in that 3-6-9 energy versus the foundational energy of 11-11, the energy of, you know, 2 in partnership, the foundation and stability of the 4. She is not wanting to step into that space right now. She's wanting to remain in her divine sovereignty and independence. And even though that's a great thing, it is time to shift Divine Feminine into this new space for yourself. It's time to allow for the universe to fill in the grid, if you will, to fill in all the missing pieces. It's not necessarily about manifesting for yourself what it is that you are desiring, what it is that you're wanting. It's more so about manifesting the energies within you that allow for the will of God, the will of Allah, the will of creation to move through you and become manifest in the world. And what happens when that happens is everything that you desire times kabillion, anything that you desire and everything that you desire is an amplified version of that, and that's what begins to fill in. That is what's being delivered unto you. So this is like severe detachment in the most attached, connected way. It's like the opposite sides of the same coin. Detachment is connection with the one energy, because in order to connect with the one energy and balance the feminine and masculine energies within yourself, Divine Feminine, you have to detach from the physical aspects, but then you also have to take action in the physical world. So it's a wham bam, it's a both kind of thing happening. It's a double-edged sword, which is exactly what we're talking about. That dual energy, that same side of the same, two sides of the same pendulum, two sides of the same coin. It's all one. You're just experiencing, or you have the ability to experience different aspects of it. And it seems in physical reality like those aspects are two separate things, but they're not. They're actually one and the same. And you can just be on either end of the spectrum. So Divine Feminine, you are still really wanting to step or to stay in this energy of independence, i.e. me. Like, have you noticed everything that I said in the first 15 minutes of this this video, this recording? I've literally just pulled cards for myself, so clearly I am resonating with all of the divine counterparts that I'm pulling for today. But yes, the Divine Feminine is in this space of much independence, and she isn't really focused on the Divine Masculine energy. in the physical realm. And what that has done is it's kind of brought her or pulled her away from her own internal divine masculine just a little bit. And so right now she's in the process of re-inverting herself, not being in that space of imbalance where she's so far in her feminine energy that the masculine aspects of her have no space to flourish and take part in the creation. She's in the process of re-inverting herself, and it's time. It's about time. Am I going to get another card for the divine feminine? Yes, now that I've said all of that. So this is not that you're not willing to go there, divine feminine. It's just that, okay, 2 cards. Yeah, it's just that you wanted to establish this first. You needed to establish this understanding of self first before you allow for something or someone else's energy to mix, and create with yours. So we have a lot of rods here. We have the 9 of rods and the 3 of rods is all, I still feel this baby, this, not a baby, but like creation, pregnancy. And if you notice, this was the card that I received the message of pregnancy through and from, and it has the 3 fingers up here. Divine feminine, you've already planted all the seeds and you're waiting for, so-called ships to come in. You're waiting to be nourished. But what you have failed to do is actually take action and, begin building your empire. Begin building your castle. Right? It's time for the divine feminine to be her own. Oh boy, we are getting all kinds of crazy up in here. It's time for the divine feminine to be her own master mason and to actually start, not only using alchemy to create, but using her own internal masonry to create. She is the Ma in Ma's son in Mason, right? She is the Ma, she is the mother. And so she has all that knowledge within her. In fact, she creates life. She's the only being on earth that's able to do that. So it's time for her to use that energy, that creative energy, and not to continue to sit on it and let it fester. No more festering, divine feminine. No more festering, especially since you are being entirely protected and guided. Your ancestors are there and they're at battle spiritually for you. You are there too on the front lines, fighting against dark forces energetically to allow for this ascension to occur for everyone on the planet, and not just twins, not just enlightened beings or those who are, stepping into that space, but for everyone. So you really don't have anything to worry about. You kind of just need to do it and trust the process. Trust the process. Okay, let's pull. Is this it? Yeah. Damn it. Every time. Well, it's definitely in alignment with this reading, that's for sure. The card for the Divine Feminine from the Archetypes deck is the one. The one, the only. You are the one for me, baby. No. This is the energy of the cube. This is the energy of the, like I said. So this is where I also got the hexagon, okay? Yeah. So if you can see in this finger, or in this hand, there is a hexagonal shape that is created inside of the fingers there. It's not a perfect hexagon, but it's a hexagon. That is the message from the message that I gave earlier about the divine. Oh, sorry, something's on my face. About the sacred geometry. Excuse me. The sacred geometry, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm a hot mess, and I want it to not be a hot mess. So what's happening here. There we go. And so okay, so if you notice, I don't know if you can see, but this is a cube, okay, but it also looks like a little kind of an awkwardly shaped hexagon nonetheless. If you can see, whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the three-dimensional manifestation of a hexagon is actually a cube. Okay, it is also a cube is one of the Platonic solids. Okay, the only shapes or geometric shapes in existence that are, I believe. Okay, what are the properties of all the shapes? They all have all of the sides and the faces are all the same. And I believe that all of the outside points of these shapes all have the same distance from that outside point into the center of each shape. This is also the beginnings of the, well, it's not the beginnings. If you placed a sphere at every single point on this cube, three-dimensionally, it would also create the seed of life. The seed of life is, well, I don't want to get too much into the understanding of this divine and sacred geometry. However, the point is, this is literally the epitome of creation. Not only does this energy represent the one energy and the movements that the creator went through in order to create the world, in order to create man, in order to create all there is, okay? This shape represents those movements. It is the three. Like I said, the divine feminine did not want to move out of the energy of the 3, 6, 9, and that progression forward, because she is focused very much on the energy of the one, the energy of a balanced union between negative and positive, a balanced union between the masculine and the feminine energies within herself. So it has shifted from a physical understanding of divine and masculine energies into an internal understanding of those energies. And she is being, well, it's funny because the Merkaba, if you look at the Hermit card from the Divine Masculine, had the Hermit card. I didn't show the cards, but that was representative of, his going on his own and having that time to transition and learn and discover more about himself. Okay. The Merkaba is a shape, geometric shape, that is comprised of a three-sided, well, what is it called? Tetrahedron. Thank you. It is a triangle and a triangle and a triangle, three-sided triangle pyramid. Okay. And it's a tetrahedron. It is, and again, another one of the Platonic solids. All of the same lengths and faces of each side of this shape are all the same. And I have them tattooed on the side of my body, but I don't want to go all there because I could show you all of them all together right off the bat, but that's probably not a good idea to be half undressed here, so I won't do that. But it's just funny that the Divine Masculine is working very diligently on changing the energy of his Merkaba, changing the energy of his energy field. The energy field is shaped. If you look at it and it's completely illuminated, it kind of looks like a UFO. Like it goes, yeah, it's like an orb of energy, and it comes out and stretches out to the sides, right? But that is what the Merkaba produces in light, okay? But this tetrahedron, the Merkaba, is composed of two tetrahedrons, one pointed upward and one downward, and they spin, in opposite directions in order to create the energy field. As a human being, we have this Merkaba. The earth also has this Merkaba. And so we are literally physical beings that are created through and live within this energy field. The Merkaba, on the outsides of the Merkaba, it's a triangle, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. They also, if you connect all of the lines of the Merkaba, create a hexagon. What I said earlier, the hexagon is a flat version of the three-dimensional cube. So this is all very interesting that the divine masculine is coming into this from a very different space than the divine feminine, but they both seem to be coming into the same energy. They're both working with the same energy of oneness. It's pretty darn freaking stellar, I would say. All of that explaining just to get there, but I hope that you followed me there. I hope that that was understandable. All right, before I pull any tarot for the connection, for the union, because clearly both of these beings, divine masculine and divine feminine, are coming into union, not with one another necessarily. I'm not even going to go there because this reading is not about the physical manifestation. This is about coming into union with the self. Okay, so I'm going to pull from the archetypes deck for the union, but this is not union between two human physical beings. This is union from the self to the self. So the card is recognizing the master within you, recognizing the shaman. So this is the card that we have for the union. The shaman. Oops. This is about recognizing the master and the degrees that you have attained as you step into this new understanding and seeing and being of self. Recognizing the masterhood. I don't know how else to say that. Recognizing the degrees of gnosis with a G that you have attained. I'm speaking both to the masculine and the feminine energies here. Recognizing the gnosis and the degrees of gnosis that you have attained as a result of this experience as a divine counterpart. Whether or not you know it now, whether or not you're aware of what you are or who you are, it makes no difference. Either way, the ascension process is in the same area for the divine masculine and divine feminine, conscious of it or not. This union with self and self is allowing for you to recognize the gifts that you have, recognize the power that you have, recognize the work that you are capable of doing, and the assistance that you're capable of offering to others during this ascension process. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, I kind of forgot that these were the cards and I saw them before. Okay, so the Judgment card. The Two of Cups. I'm literally resenting this card right now. Like, I wish I didn't say that, but like, it's true. I'm resenting it a little bit because it's representative of the physical manifestation of the divine counterparts. And why I'm saying I resent it a little bit is because I have been watching twin flame videos and reading all sorts of literature on twin flames and experiencing my own twin flame, journey. And what I've gathered from all of that is that there is a lot of resistance running rampant, like running wild, like wildfire through the divine feminine's energy, because of the position that we are in as the twin or the counterpart who awakens first to the connection. And because of the fact that many of the divine feminines have been hardwired, not hotwired, but hardwired to be clingy, obsessive freaks. Sorry, it's the truth. And if you didn't want to hear it, you heard it now. I apologize if it hurts your feelings. I had to come into that knowing as well too. But many of the divine feminines, if not all of them, have been offering this clingy, obsessive, like damsel in distress, please come and take care of me energy. And that's what the Divine Feminine was sort of challenged with balancing, with finding a balance, you know, how to be clingy and obsessive about herself. And by herself, I mean her divinity, by her balancing, by, be obsessive about how she loves, be obsessive about the energy that she offers, being obsessive about the energy she's attracting, being obsessive about understanding the universe and her communication and conversation consistently that she's having with the universe. Many of the Divine Feminines have lost their way, but many of them have actually made it to the other side. And the divine is saying here that has been noted. The work that you've done, Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine, I'm going to say, the work that you've done internally is being noted. It has been written down, checked off, highlighted, and crossed out because it's already been dealt with. You know what I mean? Sources like, yes, we see you, we acknowledge you, and now we are allowing for things to occur that will bring you justice and balance because we recognize that you have been doing all of this great work on yourselves. So it's almost like a spiritual high five. A spiritual high five and a spiritual recognition, a divine recognition, a recognition of your divinity, a recognition of your great work that you've been doing, not just in this lifetime, but in many lifetimes for many of us. So Spirit is saying, congratulations, you finally crossed over. There are definitely a group of Divine Feminine and Masculines who have not yet crossed over, but in time, they'll get there. But for right now, those of you that have crossed over and are in this space of oneness and recognizing the one energy between or within themselves, congratulations. You have officially stepped into the understanding of Christ consciousness. And as a reward for the spiritual work that, sorry, hang now. Gross. Come on now. As a reward for the work that you've done, you are going to be rewarded with, it's not just a partnership. It's like, if this could represent the union physically, yes, but it also represents union with the self, clarity, understanding of the self, understanding the balance within yourself, masculine and feminine energies. Also, it represents the relationships around you. They're going to become much more balanced and level with where your energies are, where your mind space is. You're being gifted with people and relationships that are going to now, instead of being detrimental to your progression as a spiritual being, as a Christ consciousness being, okay, the relationships you now have are either going to be the old relationships will be transformed, or they're going to drop away. But what you're going to be left with are relationships that are like equally yoked. You're going to be seeing eye to eye with the people that are around you, whether or not this is a manifestation of your twin physically. Like I said, I don't really like to go there. This is a physical manifestation of the balance that you have finally found or you're about to find within yourself. And the burden that felt like everything was too much, like it was too much to carry, it's almost like you just went like, all these, I'm feeling my arms actually. It's like you're being gifted with these extra muscles, like all of a sudden you got a bicep, all of a sudden you got some deltoid, all of a sudden you got some tricep, boom, 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 boom. And you're capable now of carrying these, what used to feel like a burden has now become this easy load. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I can carry all this, no problem. Look at all of the fruitfulness that are going to come from these 10 wands here. Look at all the greatness and the life that's being cycled through these manifestational wands, right? Wands of manifestation, whatever you want to call them. It's like you just got some spiritual muscle, and now what used to be a burden has become, let's see, I'm missing a word. Yeah. It's become the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Wands has manifested itself into being the 10 of Cups. Fulfillment. Union within the self. Prosperity. Even if the world looks like shit, even if you feel like your world is falling apart, you might not have any dollars in the bank, but there will be very soon kind of energy. You might not have the love of your life, but they're coming very soon. You might not live in the home you want to live in, but it's right around the corner. You're about to sign, that bill of sale. Like whatever it is that represents that physical aspect of the manifestation, that part I don't like to talk about so much. That part is, it's like these burdens, what felt like it was hard to do, what felt like it was going to be difficult to achieve and ascertain, has now just boom, flip the switch. It's done. Bye. It's like you're balanced. You don't need to figure it out. It's there. Hi. Here comes balance. Here comes, this is a dual energy card, but this is for here. It's for right now in this message. It's representing. Come on now. Get it together. Get it together. It's representative of the consistent, you're juggling, right? It's going up, it's going down, it's positive, it's negative, it's in and out, it's blah, 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 blah. But it's balanced because you're allowing it to flow. Maybe one day it's like this, maybe the next day it's like this, but you're trusting and in knowing that this is part of the relationship. Sometimes you're going to have to be super duper masculine. Sometimes you're going to have to be all up in your emotions feminine. Sometimes you're going to have to suppress those emotions a little bit and light some freaking fires under people's asses. And sometimes you're going to be able to, release that. Sometimes you're going to have to take action. Sometimes you're going to have to be more quiet and silent and receiving. Sometimes you offer, sometimes you receive. It's a balancing. And you are most certainly being gifted with the rewards that come along with balancing the self, because all of these burdens are no longer yours. You still hold them. They're not burdens anymore. They're cups. They're fulfillment. Next full moon. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to say next full moon. Okay, next full moon is coming fast. Next full moon, you're going to be feeling and seeing the physical manifestations of the work that you've been doing on the side. So if you've been manifesting, don't stop. If you've been creating deliberately, intentionally, with focus, don't stop. Continue. Just because it hasn't happened yet, or just because it hasn't, just because it hasn't shown up in the way that you assumed that it would, don't stop. It's imperative that you keep going. Speaking of that, I just did a crystal grid yesterday for love and prosperity. To be honest, it's a crystal grid that is representative of all the things that I want to manifest. And for me, what I want to manifest is quite simply an energy within myself that allows me to attract all of the things that are in alignment, the lifestyle, the life, the people, the knowledge, the conversations, all of it that is in alignment with the will of the one energy, the energy of the one, the energy of creation, the energy of source, Allah, God. That's what I want for myself. I don't care about the details anymore. The details are irrelevant. It's about the energy. The creation within myself that I want to create is a continuation of an offering of love consistently. And whatever life offers, that is in alignment with that love, I'm willing to accept and I receive with open arms and an open heart. And it's time to not necessarily fine tune what it is that you want to create, because that can very much get you tied up in a battle with your ego. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? What's going to make me happy? You know, it's more about releasing the specificities of your creation and allowing for those gifts to be received, allowing for those gifts to actually come forth, and allowing yourself to receive them with openness. And it's coming fast. It's coming like wildfire. The balance between the negative and the positive, the balance between the feminine and the masculine, the balance between the light and dark is coming, and it's coming fast. It's coming real fast. Here's the Chariot. So be steadfast. Don't be afraid to take action. I took action today by doing this reading, even though I truly didn't want to, but clearly this is a message not only to you all, but also to me, that taking action is necessary, taking action is required, and fear must quite literally be abolished and left behind. It's time not to act on your fear. It's time to act through your strengths, through your faith, through the trust that your energy and your mind space is truly being aligned with where it should be. So yeah, keep up the trust, keep up the good work, keep manifesting. But if you have manifestations that are still very ego driven, you're also being urged to tame that beast a little bit. It's time to tame the ego, tame the beast. Yeah, it's time to tame the beast. It's time to tame the ego. This is what she's doing in that card. That's awesome. And to allow for, what is it? Sorry, so the words in the message that I was giving was just interrupted by a gigantic block of thought. So just give me a second. Yeah, it's time to step through. It's time to step through the gateway of self-knowledge. It's time to step through the like in that movie, I forget what it's called. It's a bunch of aliens that come, and then they build the big machine, and they drop this ball. I'm gonna totally destroy this. Even the scene is jacking me up. But anyhow, it's like you're stepping through this new realm. Like there's this shiny material in front of you through the doorway, and that's what a doorway is, right? A doorway is a connection from one realm into another realm, from one room into another room, right? Because if the wall was just solid, you wouldn't be able to get through. You need a doorway. You need a gap in order to pass through, right? So this doorway that you are stepping through, or likely have already stepped through, it's time to stay in that energy and recognize that you made it there. Okay, you've made it. You've already, in fact, yeah, this message specifically is not for anyone that has to step through the doorway. If you haven't stepped through the doorway, fucking step through. It's time. And most of us have already stepped through that doorway. So take a look around, soak it in, appreciate it, and allow yourself to continue to resonate at the frequency that allows for you to stay in this new realm. No more going back. It's just not allowed. Simply not allowed. Because this shit is coming fast. This balance is coming fast. The manifestations that this internal balance is attracting are coming fast. So that is the message for today. That is the reading. I will that you receive these messages with love. I will that everything that you are meant to know and meant to receive is received. And I wish that, or I will that you are, you continue to be eternally guided and eternally protected, divinely protected. And I most certainly will see you in this time and see you on the other side. So with that, I will say peace and love to you. Good night.